watch this in the future. Okay. Yeah, so we can get started either with activity three, or if you guys have some quick questions you'd like to ask. The exam is coming up this weekend, the first one, and um, I'm open to answering any questions or trying to answer questions you guys might have right off the bat. So, yeah, feel free to shoot away. Cool. So, there's no questions. I'll start by sharing my screen just to go over activity three. If you have any questions as I'm talking, feel free to stop me in my tracks, and then we can discuss one of the questions deeper or further. Yeah, overall, this activity three is just to get you more comfortable with crossing multiple genes at one time. So here is a trihybrid cross. That's just because you have three genes that you're um, first up here using more Mendelian genetics, but down here you're actually looking at X-linked diseases, which, as you might know from the lectures, are diseases that are linked to the X chromosome. That's usually given um, by mom or dad, depending on what the offspring's gender is. So um, here in the top part, you're looking at three different genes. The first gene F that has to do with feather color. Uh, Gene B, which has to do with the size of the beak of this cool looking bird. And then Gene S, which has to do with like the actual spotting of the wings or like the design pattern. Um, so then you're crossing these two parents um, and seeing this offspring. But the first one is set up uh, a different Punnett square, a two by two Punnett square for each three genes. So here, parent one, you'll put like big F, little f, and then of course big B, little b. And then you'll just continue doing that, fill out the Punnett squares, and then multiply the probabilities together for these specific genotypes, which is what the offspring is, to find the chance or the proportion, um, the probability that with these two parental genotypes, you'll be able to get that offspring genotype. So then you can write the phenotype pretty much for each gene. So when you get down here, the op like which of the following options are gametes that parent two can produce? The gamete you're going to get by actually looking at parent two, and gametes are formed with only one set of chromosomes, or yeah, one set of alleles really. So you're going to find like different combinations of these Fs, Bs, and S's, and find which ones down here are possible from those. So that's pretty much all of part one up here. So then down here, you're actually looking at a pedigree again, and you're looking at one for a specific X-linked disorder. And we can say that it's X-linked because the first clue, we don't know for sure with these first two generations, just because um, the parents here only have two kids. So um, you have like a 50% probability that your child is going to be affected if it's a normal, like autosomal disease, and we only have one child affected. But since it's a son that's affected, and we know that um, sons are more likely to be affected by X-linked diseases because they only receive one copy of the X chromosome, we see that the sun is affected, but going down here, you see that that pretty much branch of the tree is only affected. So you can assume that is going to be an X-linked disease. Um, so then from there, you're going to first find the mode of transition or transmission. So up here, it kind of says that is an X-linked disorder. So you're going to see if it's either recessive or dominant. Then you're going to go down here, and with grandma and grandpa, you have 1, 1, and 1, 2. You're going to see whether it's recessive or dominant. So this kind of helps you get to the correct answer up here. So if there's any questions about this worksheet, I'd be happy to answer them. Unless everything makes sense, then that's all right.
So for the second Punnett square in, your top would be up on top. It
Mhm.
would be
Oh, sorry.
capital B, little b, and then on the side, parent two would be like the little b. Is that what we're
Yes.
doing for all of them?
Yes,
Okay.
that's
So it's
right.
always
Yeah.
against recessive. Okay, on the
Gotcha. Yeah.
side.
Can you see my mouse on the screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So you'll have like a capital B here, lowercase b for parent one.
Okay.
These are just looking at that gene specifically. And then yeah, you're right. The little b's will be on the side for parent two.
Okay.
Yeah. So then from there, you'll see how many heterozygous genotypes you have. And then you'll put a fraction here that'll go into this three fraction multiplication equation.
Okay.
Okay, so I have, okay, so the question from Isabella in the chat is talking about how you're able to tell the X-linked recessive table versus the X-linked dominant table. So down here at the bottom, what makes sense with the pedigree? So are you curious about how you actually get to the answer, whether it's recessive or dominant, like the X-linked recessive or dominant from the tables themselves?
Yeah, I had already filled out both of the tables, but I'm just a little bit confused on how to, I guess, use that to read the pedigree.
Gotcha. Okay, so really, does so over here on the dominant table, I will say, like, I don't know if this would have made sense right off the bat. Um, if it's X-linked dominant, you're only going to need one um, of the alleles, like X to the capital A. So what you're going to do is really from the pedigree, you're going to know that it's going to be like X capital A or X like superscript capital A. That's going to be your disease allele. And then a normal X allele. And we know that because from grandpa up here, 1 1, and grandma, 1 2, when they have a kid, only one is affected. If the grandma was homozygous, I guess, dominant for this X capital A, then both kids would be affected. So when you're filling out this table, it's gonna like kind of give you a hint that maybe it's either recessive or dominant, depending on how many kids were affected, if that makes sense. Okay, cool. Yeah. Because since dominant uh genotypes, normally mask like since the dominant phenotype normally masks the recessive phenotype, if it were to be, you know, a recessive allele, then what's it called? If it were to be a recessive allele, then it probably wouldn't show in both kids. But, if it's a dominant allele, it would show in both kids, like if they were homozygous dominant. I don't know if that made sense actually. It made more sense in my head before I said it. Yet another tip I would say is like for X-linked recessive alleles, so 1, 2, now that I'm thinking about it, the grandma here could have two copies of the X-linked recessive allele. So that's why the son has it, because it only receives its X copy from here. So it's almost like um it shows the recessive phenotype just because it's an XY chromosome. So only the X is affected, therefore you have the disease. Um, but what's important here also is that even if this was a recessive allele and the mom here isn't affected, both of their daughters are affected here in generation three. So you might be able to assume that the allele is more dominant than recessive. Just because if it was recessive, the chance of both daughters being affected would be really low. So I kind of just gave the answer, but I hope that helps with the understanding. So yeah, once again, if everyone feels pretty good about activity three, you can also just ask questions about other things about the class so far. Hey, Nema. Yeah, we can talk about activity one also, especially since the grades have come out and everything. I know that some students were curious about their stuff.
Yes, I definitely had a question about for C.
Okay.
Um, because I got quite a few wrong. I'm not quite sure exactly which ones I got wrong. Um, but I think for the mRNA codon 5, that part was kind of confusing me a bit. Um,
Gotcha. I
just if I could get clarification on that,
definitely,
please.
yeah, because I graded yours, right? Yeah, I was trying to be specific.
Yeah.
It's like yeah, it was kind of hard to um specifically talk about like the specific codons that or like the sequence parts of the sequence that were messed up. Sorry. But here, let me open that up real quick. Okay. So yeah, a lot of people did well with the first few parts where you had the DNA template, the mRNA codon sequence, and then the tRNA anticodon sequence. So it looks like that all looks good. So when I said, um, I see. So in my comment for the amino acid one letter sequence, I had given the answer. So the answer was supposed to be Martha Chase. So your first four amino acids were good, but then starting at codon 5, you have valine, and it's possible that you got that from using the anticodon sequence because the anticodon sequence is GUA. That's like the actual sequence of the tRNA that gets recruited to the ribosome to add the amino acid. So if you go to the table and look up GUA, that encodes for valine, which is not the right amino acid because instead you had to use the mRNA codon sequence, which is CAU instead of GUA. So if you go to CAU on the table, um, that encodes for histone or H. So that's actually the correct codon sequence because I think I put the comment of remember to use the mRNA codon sequence to find the three-letter amino acid code on the table because I think I noticed that after that fourth amino acid, you started using the anticodon sequence, if that makes sense. Because I think that was, yeah, the only thing that was messed up. Does that make sense the way I explained that?
Yes, it makes a lot of sense.
Gotcha. Yeah, because it's really, I mean, when I first learned this, I was using the anticodon sequence too because I wasn't sure. But next to the codon table, it's like it says use the mRNA codon sequence. So that's literally, I think, the only thing that was messed up.
Gotcha. Thank you. Yep,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
got
of
it now.
course. Okay, good. I'm glad that makes points. And then actually, yeah, so then for the nucleotide component, you had the right answer, it looked like, and then you like crossed it out. Um, because you had originally put glucose and then there was an X next to it. But I think that one is pretty straightforward.
I got mine wrong. I didn't get Martha Chase. Could we just do like the first strand down so I make sure I'm doing it right from that? Like, so they give you ATG on top, and then your DNA template is TAC, and then
Yes.
the mRNA codon is AUG, right?
Yes. Hmm.
Okay, and then your tRNA anticodon, I got UAC. Where did I go wrong there?
So
Is
UAC is correct. So did you get
okay.
met there or M?
Well, when I looked up UAC in the chart, let's see
Oh,
here, you
okay. I see.
I
So
see the Y.
gotcha. Okay, so there you're actually supposed to use the mRNA codon sequence. So that's going to be AUG instead of UAC.
Okay.
Yeah. That was a pretty common mistake though, and that's always a mistake with learning this because it's good that you know what the tRNA anticodon is just because
Mhm.
I don't know, it's interesting, but the mRNA codon sequence actually encodes for the protein. So like that's what lines up with the genetic code table that you see there.
Okay, I see. Okay, all right. That makes sense now.
Yeah, so then for the second one, like I think your sequences are perfect. Um, the second codon is GCU in the mRNA codon sequence. Do you see that?
Yes.
So then if you go GCU on the table, you're actually going to have alanine instead of arginine.
Yeah,
So it's going to be A
I
instead of
see.
R. So that'll spell out the first two letters of Martha Chase.
Okay, I went off of the tRNA. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay, I understand what I did wrong. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, of course.
All right, well, I'm pretty much set. Is that all we're going to be doing today? Just asking questions?
Oh yeah, yeah. Now I'm just opening up the floor up. For those of us who are joining now, I think Jeanette and Joseph, we just went over activity three a bit, and now I just kind of open the floor up for any questions you might have. I can also open activity three back up if you have questions. Um, so yeah.
No, I'm just here because I wanted to make sure that you were actually having office hours before I sent a message out on the
Oh,
Discord.
gotcha. Yeah, yeah,
So I'm just kind of hanging out here. I
yeah.
think you've
Sorry.
got enough ATAs in the room, but
Gotcha. Yeah, the on Monday, that's my other originally scheduled office hours, but since that was a US holiday, we didn't have anything.
yeah. And then I think next Monday is the exam, so there won't be office hours then either, right?
I'll still hold office hours for that, especially if people are like, having technical problems. Maybe I can reach Dr. Holacek if they
Okay.
can't. Well, so I will have office hours, but I guess you can't join them if you're actively like taking the test. But I'll still be on here just because, there's no reason for me not to, especially if someone, finishes their test early for some reason, maybe in a different time zone than here.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, Isabella. Have a good day. Thanks, you too, Naima. I'll see you. Jeanette, how do you feel about the exam on, well, I guess people will be taking it on Monday. Most people, especially in the US, but
No, hon, I'm an ATA.
oh, sorry. So sorry.
No, you're
I
fine.
I was checking with everyone else while they were coming in, and I just assumed that. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah, yeah, I'm not usually like fully conscious this early in the morning. So,
Oh, that's fair. Yeah. It's are you in Arizona or are you elsewhere?
no, I'm in Chicago. I'm actually going to be in Arizona about almost exactly a week from today.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
I'm like packing everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll make it over there every so often. I have family just I think it's west of Chicago, out in Elgin, if that rings a
Oh,
bell.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm technically in like Northwest Indiana, but I
Oh,
always just
cool.
say Chicago because people know where Chicago is. And if I'm like Indiana, people are like, oh, I think I know which one that is, but
Yeah, that's so true. I know, like growing up, he's my dad's side's from like the um Illinois, yeah, like Illinois, Indiana, Ohio region. Um, I'm familiar with that, but then I realized that a lot of people aren't. So
I think Kelsey's there now, aren't you? I don't know if she can hear us.
I don't know. Oh, she's in the chat only today. Oh, gotcha.
Ah, yeah, that's what I thought. I've got like a list of like when people are doing their labs so that I can like know like where people are and set things up and stuff.
Sweet.
Yeah, I think we've got like 3 or 4 ATAs right now in Arizona. I think I'm the only one that's like later on. I'm basically spending like all of June in Arizona.
Oh my gosh. So what you said something about labs?
Yeah, it's like organic chemistry and biochemistry. You can't do them like most of them, you can't do them online. You have to actually show up in Arizona to do them. So
I see. Okay. Wow. So even if you're like an out of state student,
Yeah, even I mean, we've got like I've got classmates that are flying in from like Switzerland and stuff. Yeah, I know. I'm like, there's got to be another way, but
yeah, I mean, I guess it's cool. Like, so I grew up in Arizona. So obviously when I'm here, I'm like, I hate the heat. It's a dust bowl, whatever. There's not much to do around here. But maybe it might be fun coming in for a little bit to go to, I don't know, cool resort pool. I don't know.
I mean, I think it'd be fun if it were like December. I'd love to do it in December,
Yeah. Did you
but
say you were going to be here in June?
yeah, I'm gonna be here basically like June like 6th to like the 24th or something. So basically like all of June. Like I don't know why I just did this to myself, but
Wow.
it's fun.
Okay. Yeah. That's a lot. I mean, yeah, hopefully, I mean, for that long, do you even do a hotel or do you do something else?
No, a couple of us got a Airbnb.
Oh,
So
awesome. Okay.
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. I mean it shouldn't be bad. It's just I don't want to like have to walk outside like at all.
Oh,
So
exactly. And I mean, like, everyone's ACs here is pretty good, but every summer, people's AC goes down, and I don't know how it is with Airbnbs, but I pray that it's all right.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Otherwise I'm just gonna start sleeping in Bateman.
That's funny. Um, Jeanette, is this your first time doing this bio class, or have you done it before in the past?
No, this is my first time. Yeah, I took
Like,
it back in spring.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my first time teeing for it online, so I'd previously asked Kelsey like if TAs normally stay on for their whole office hour, and she said like if it's like this where students have already gone, I'm fine closing it. So I'm thinking that's what I'll do. But yeah,
It's up to you. I mean, I know, sometimes students don't realize that they have a question until later, but
yeah,
it's, I mean, there are more office hours, I think later today, right? I think Juan's got in the afternoon.
yeah, there definitely is. And then all of the exam review sessions are coming up Friday, I think. So
Yeah, I think Dr. H has hers on Thursday or something, and then ours, the ATA's is on Saturday.
wow. So for those, are you guys just kind of going over everything they've gone or gotten so far?
Yeah, it's kind of like we kind of split it up so that we each have like a topic that we have to cover.
Okay,
I've forgotten what I'm supposed to be covering, but they give us slides, so I'll go through them.
that's good.
But
Yeah. Yeah, this is a super fast-paced course, so
yeah, it's ridiculous.
yeah.
I thought it was bad like in spring. We only had like 7.5 weeks.